Hey folks, we're back. I'm in this room. Simon's over there in the archive,
Hey.
um, reading up on important things to be reading up on. Half pandas. There we go.
Yeah.
Today we are going to be going through some more of Simon's pictures, so he can tell us his thought processes behind them, and I can tell him why he's wrong. Hello, Simon. How you doing?
I am. I'm fine, actually. Yes, I am
You,
having a good time. It's quite warm
you,
in here, but
you
it's
done
nice.
you done much in the past week?
Yeah, I've done loads. I've washed this T-shirt and put it back on,
Okay.
obviously. And yeah, I mean, amazing the things that happened in the week, isn't it?
It's incredible.
It's quite something. I mean, the world changes so fast now.
It does every day.
Yeah, and I understand that you've learnt French since last week.
Oui, très bien. Je m'appelle David. Le sens dans l'arbre. Right, let's do this. So, screen sharing technology, go. And go.
So,
There it is.
Oh, yeah, I like that one.
It's good, isn't it?
Yeah.
So whoever drew that was clearly good at the drawing things.
Well, I wouldn't go that far. But this
course,
is one of the
Of course,
we've had this discussion before. This is one of the ones I don't hate, so that's good. Yeah.
Don't make me come over there, because that'd be anti-social distancing. Although I do need to get my eyes checked, so I'll be allowed to come. Right, tell us about it. What is it?
It's a Thames. One day I won't know what it is, but it's a Thames. I'd give you the model code, but then I'd have to know it.
Is it a Ford?
It is, yes. It's yes. A Ford Thames van. In this case, it's got windows.
What sort of year are we talking here?
I don't know. I'd go with 60, 63, 64. I could be wrong though. Yeah, thanks so much. Is there a? Hang on. It's a 400E. That's what it is.
I would expect you to know about it because A, you drew it, but B, you don't have to know the exact year. I was thinking, is it a 50s vehicle, a 60s vehicle? What is it? How likely am I going to be able to find one of these to do?
I think it's
excellentness to
early 60s. I'd go with yeah, I'd go with early 60s because the word transit is 65. Transit came out, something like that. So yes, this is a 400E because I read it in the file name, Thames van.
It's awesome. I was going to say, what have you done to it? But obviously there is much slamming. I'm assuming this will be requiring floors to be cut out and all sorts proper.
Yeah. So these two things here. The overall theme is to Americanize it, is to make it a bit more luxo. So that trim down the side is, for want of a better word, fictional. Not factory, and then we've got chrome bits and things like that. I think the van it was based on, because we base it on real vans, was a pretty high spec one because it was like a minibus or Dormobile type spec, but we've jazzed it up a little bit more in the style of sort of an Econoline or a Dodge A100 or something like that.
I can see you can see the Econoline.
Yeah,
influences, like what they do with those.
Moving on to your other question, or going back to your other question, which is what have you done to it? Yes, that there's definitely like a bit of channeling or a body drop going on there, and you'd think this is one of those things where people do the, something like this actually exists because Ray Ramsey has done this.
Okay.
This van exists in the UK in yellow. Not sure how finished it got, but I've stood next to it at maybe the Classic Ford show at Santa Pod. It sits just like this, so you're sort of like, no one's ever going to do that. You build these things, you're not going to get one of those on the floor. But if you could buy that one from Ray or whoever he built it for, you only need to paint it and stick some chrome trim on it, and you actually have got it.
That's cool. I like, I like the idea of taking that sort of Econoline look. Also, in fact, we talked a little bit about it last week, is that you're taking a look that was applied to a similar vehicle, and just throwing it at this, which is such a great technique for doing cool cars. It immediately, weirdly reminded me of the church van.
Yeah.
What's it? Van Gogh. That's it. For some reason, it doesn't have any similarities other than its ride height. But like immediately in my brain was that connection between those two things.
Slammed one box.
Yeah,
I suppose with a bit of character. It's a very nice era for vans, actually. They do look good, and it's the first it's the cab over design thing that happened. Flat, like snub nose. I mean, there's something good about them when they end up with a little snub bonnet as well. But yeah, it lends itself well to the American style.
And immediately cooler than a VW as well. So just throwing that out there. Not that VWs aren't cool, it's just they are very commonly done. So
it's the thing. If everyone built Transits, then we'd be showing you a picture of a T4 now or something. Wouldn't we? Going, wow, you could do that thing that I do with Transits on this.
Exactly the same. And you know, like they doing a Hillman Avenger in the way that people do a Ford Escort.
Yeah,
it's cooler, right? Well, for us it is. For Ford people, probably not.
Well, I think so. The thing is what it does is it saves you a bit of money, and you get to be different. And like we were discussing last week, with putting Fouche on a Renault Dauphine, you can reference the style, but also you can just literally take the book on how to do it, and you're not looking for anything new to do. You're doing exactly that, but the thing you've done different is by picking a different base car. And here, I think that's worked rather splendidly.
It's absolutely wonderful. I love it. If someone if Ray hasn't built it already, someone should. I am going to go on eBay and look for vans. So
you could do it with the German Transit thing, the Taunus Transit that predates the Transit, which is similar. In fact, that's what you could buy in Germany instead of buying one of these in the UK, I think. Yeah. And I believe Ray Ramsey also has done one of those, but I'm not sure how finished that is. The one that, in fact, Grizz owned for a while.
Oh, yeah. Forum member Grizz. I should also point out, actually, before we go any further, every single picture in this thing is a van. This is a van special.
Or van with windows in this case.
Or van with windows. Yeah. So we are, or one box almost, I think. So let's go on to the next one, which isn't a one box. It's a van. I like this because it's silly.
Yeah, this is fun. Yeah.
Talk to us about it, Simon.
I will talk to you about this. This is an idea that's been in my head since I heard the word gasser. In fact, when someone described a lifted car as a gasser, and I thought, you know what you could do with that? That's like British Gas. It's not written on the side. That's just me. My inner mind sounds like that. That's exactly it. And I remember this is done for Street Machine, and I was every month you have to think, what am I going to do this month? Because unlike Classic Ford, Street Machine don't say anything to me about what I'm going to do. They don't offer me any guidance, and they just leave me to it, which is a compliment. And I can do whatever I like. I remember sitting there thinking, what am I going to do this month? And I literally just dug back into my own mind and I thought,
rooted around for a little while.
I could just draw that thing I always talked about when I was little. And yes, it's essentially entirely inspired by a play on words, because it doesn't take much, whether you're taking an idea from another car or just thinking, I've got a really cool name for that car, how shall I build it? So it's, I guess you have to be a certain age to remember British gas bands, but, and I don't know if they ever came in this livery either. I think it might be the paint scheme from a later van. I think you might have seen a Marina in this and not a Bedford HA, but we've taken the idea. Someone will come along who's a British gas van expert and tell me, but we've added an S, an E and an R to make it gasser, and then we've done the car to match, it's got slot mags.
Yes, as all good cars should. I like, you can still see the suspension in your drawing, which is good.
Yes, well, in fact, it's been leaf sprung on the front as well, which is a standard sort of straight axle thing. Although those leaf, we're analysing those too close, and we're going to get into my my negativity side here. But those look quite small, those leaf springs. If anyone's an engineer of chassis, I just draw things. I don't build them.
It's just the idea.
Yeah, it's an idea. You if you want to build this, you could probably. And strangely, I shouldn't be picking holes. It seems to have split rims on the front, but not on the rear. I have no idea how something like that could happen. In fact, I think I did it because there's a British slant on it. There's a reading Street Machine sort of in the early days, in the late 70s, early 80s. It was quite common for a car to have like 13s on the front and 15s on the back and stuff like that.
And big and littles.
Yeah, this isn't just an Americanized HA van. This is supposed to have been like a hark back to that style in a way. So we've done a smaller diameter on the front, whereas an American would have 15s around probably. Yeah. But we've done like a 13 and a 15 on that. And obviously I haven't drawn the engine, but in my mind it was a full V6 in that. Set back a bit because it's obviously a 3-cylinder long engine, pushed back a little bit, just for the fun of it. Side pipes. So I don't know why. I just thought, even in my mind as I say it now, or I'm saying this out loud, aren't I? Not in my mind.
That's how that works.
My mind voice is different because you heard it earlier. I think the V6 just really works for it. I just think that'd be fun.
I think also you don't need to go V8 on everything. So and also it feels weirdly in period. When you look back through old Street Machines and stuff, and old custom car magazines, like not everything was running big V8s. Like stuff was running Jag engines, stuff was running straight sixes, stuff was running V6s, and I think that kind of got lost a certain degree when V8 became the acceptable engine for every hot rod ever built. Yeah. And it seemed actually over the sort of past 10 years that's moved away again. Like people are putting all sorts of things in heavily custom cars. I mean, obviously a lot of people are just putting LSs in stuff, but you are seeing some odd stuff coming back into the custom car and street machine world.
Yeah, there's a time in UK like modifying history where a Jag IRS was a thing that people put under anything they could because jacked up with a red light under it and see all the drive shafts spinning and the inboard discs and stuff is a good look. But people were doing that to cars without doing anything to the front end. So it's quite conceivable. You could pick up an old copy of Street Machine, which is here, incidentally, an old copy of Street Machine, and find in the Reader's Rides section, Reader's Cars section, that someone's got like a Humber Scepter and put a Jag RS in it, and it's just got a standard 1725 or 1500 lump in it, which is all good fun. And of course the other thing is, if you're talking about the 80s, the Rover V8, which became the standard V8 engine for a little while, they just weren't out there. When did the Rover P6 get the Rover V8? In fact, the P5 had a V8, but even then you're talking like late 60s. And so that engine's got to be 10 years old before people are really going to start using them. So unless you wanted to put an American V8 or the old Daimler 2.5 Hemi in it, you're not going to get that many V8s. So you're going to see people slotting in other things.
Whatever's
out of Zephyrs.
Yeah, whatever's around, like as you say, Zephyr engines and like Jag straight sixes and stuff, like just all sorts of random stuff.
Yeah, the Jag engine you can pick up an old copy of Hot Car from the late 60s, and there's in fact one that's right next to me now. There's a feature on a Mark II Zephyr convertible that someone's put a Jag engine in, and it's just on sort of like some home banded steels.
Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot. I'm surprised you didn't actually go with British Gasser, because it is such a British Gasser, but then maybe the subtlety works better.
That was too much, but it's even a bit uncomfortable having the extra letters on it, because it sits at the back and it ruins the sort of design of it, in my opinion. And of course, it never said British Gas. But
just say gas.
Yeah, but the paint job's really good. It's an excellent piece of design from whoever decided what colour to paint these cars in the first place.
It's absolutely iconic. Absolutely iconic. Yeah. 1 second, I got to sneeze now.
You're after the sponsorship again. You're thinking Kleenex, aren't you?
Yeah,
that's what's going on there.
Going straight into the Kleenex. Right, next.
Hit us up, Kleenex. Oh, yeah.
So, I have actually I look around for cars quite a lot, and I never buy any. I have been looking around at these for a very long time, and they never come up for sale unless they are extraordinarily rusty.
It's a weird thing, that, isn't it? They do appear on eBay. I reckon you probably get one every 2 months for £300 on eBay, and for some reason someone's filled it with dogs or something. It's
Yeah, they're all horrifically grotty, all the
Yeah.
ones that appear on eBay.
yeah,
And occasionally you'll get them come up in Japan, but very, very rarely. Like
Yeah.
they're a car that seems to have vanished, and it's possible that they just melt into the floor or all their head gaskets go. But I really like them, and I really like this.
it's also very unusual in that, in my opinion, out the UK spec van gets the best looking front end. The US and the JDM ones get a slightly uglier front end, whereas our one was really nice. And whilst we don't get the silly spec of the Japanese ones, because Japanese ones end up with all sorts of curtains, they've got the Royal Lounge one that's got full velour. Our one was, I think, only available in 1 or 2 specifications, and it was a nice setup. You get them in I think silver and then blue, and there's a burgundy that works really well. And I probably would have illustrated this one in that. My dream one of these. Hang on, my dream one of these would be in that dark metallic blue they come in.
Yeah.
But it just doesn't work so well in the magazine, and you don't get to play with the graphics. In reality, my version of this that I'd love to own would be more stock looking. But yeah, it's got to look a bit spangly as well. So.
I should also actually get people who don't know what this is. It's I'm going to say a Toyota Space Cruiser, but it's Light Ace is a very similar shape as well.
The Space Cruiser is the name it was sold in the UK, and this one is a Space Cruiser because it's got a little orange line around it. It's got a UK spec front end. But if you're looking for the catch-all, that's a catch-all, to call it Model F. It was even sold in the UK as a Model F as well, but it does go on to become a sort of a Light Ace, and the later ones were Town Aces.
Yeah.
I had a Town Ace.
It's very confusing when you're trying to search for them, I have to say.
Yes. Yeah.
They have a reputation for having a head gasket that goes, but apparently that is entirely fixable, or it's your perfect opportunity to engine swap it for something less head gaskety.
Yeah, I think it might be like the old, not actually a 4AGE engine, but a relative of it in there. So swappability is probably quite high in it.
I think that's right. Most of the Toyota stuff from that era was very swappable, as far as I can tell. Like not in a no engine swap is as easy as everyone tells you it's going to be. Probably because they've never done it, but. From talking to James, who is the rote engineer on Instagram, and he is on YouTube as well, who is a Toyota person at the moment, at least, and knows his beans. He was saying...
Knows his beams?
Knows his beams. They are sort of much more interchangeable, like gearboxes will match up, and engine mounts and various other bits and pieces that you wouldn't necessarily expect will be very easy to throw from one to another, because they're all built in like a component way. And actually you can see that when you look at the model lineups for these things, because they got like 48 different engine options for like late 80s, early 90s Toyotas. You could get them spec'd with almost anything. It was insane. It's engine swap one of these on air. Again, I think we're looking at chopping floors though, so it starts getting slightly dicey territory.
You can get these pretty low, I think. I think you can get it near this without too much choppage. There is ones that run nearly this low, although maybe not on 15s. I think like where they do 14s when they play that game. Those are Fuchs, by the way.
Oh, they are.
And I'm gonna make a confession. I often use, if I put Fuchs on anything, the same set of Fuchs with some adjustments. But I think I did those ones fresh. They are fresh Fuchs for this one.
Fresh Fuchs.
Fresh Fuchs. Yeah, for this particular Space Cruiser. And I may not have reused them. So yeah, that's it. If you ever want to look at my Instagram and look at my Fuchs and go, there they are, there they are, there they are. They appear quite a lot.
There's all. You've also smoothed this. Did you do any more smoothing? I guess a handle on here as well.
Yeah, I think they're supposed to be handles.
How would you open the sliding door?
Solenoid. That's it. There's plenty of cars. In fact, I've been looking at recently have got electric sliding doors. I don't think there's ever an option on this, but you're not that far down the line. I'm sure, like you could take the mechanism from a Dodge Caravan or a Estima or something and get yourself an electric sliding door.
I tell you what, I would always really want to retrofit. In fact, I'm going to stop sharing this now. What I really want to retrofit to something is the soft closed doors from the Mercedes S-Class from the late 90s. Yep. It's one of my favourite ridiculous optional extras that I've ever seen on a car.
I've got the Jaguars that I use at work regularly. I've got soft closed doors, and strange enough, I was doing a job for someone else who's got a Jaguar of a similar era, but it didn't have soft closed doors, and you look like a right prune when you just casually put the door to the sort of closed position and wait for it to suck in, and it just doesn't do it, and you just look like someone who doesn't know how to close doors.
I don't know how to operate a door.
Thanks, Jaguar.
Thank you. Yeah. I like the fact you can slam them, so you just...
Oh, the Jaguar doesn't do that. If you slam the door, it just closes, but you learn to just sort of like push it shut and then let it sort of go catch. I haven't even got soft close in my kitchen, let alone in the car.
Basically, Jaguar's going, I've got this.
Yeah.
Don't bother yourself with such trivialities as closing the door.
That's it.
I'll close them for you, sir. Well, that's us. I think that's our time for this time. We'll be back for more judging your car. So hit up the showroom on Retro Rides, and we will do some more of Simon's pictures and other stuff as well. So we will see you, next week.
Yeah.